All I hear is talking, I don't sweat that. If they don't trust me either, I respect that. But she be down the ride, oh, I bet that. Ooh.
Because when you're working like all night or, the graveyard shift, you tend to sleep during the day and you don't really get time with your family or with your kids. A lot of my coworkers and peers, you can just see it on their face. They look angry and honestly depressed, like a lot of them feel like they're stuck, they need the healthcare and the benefits, but like the pay sucks or they've invested so much time with the company and they're still not full time. A lot of people are angry.
When you think of good middle-class jobs, you probably think of UPS, but the shipping behemoth has a secret. While full-time delivery drivers are the face of UPS, it's the part-time workers like Cesar Mendoza who are the heart of the $100 billion company. In fact, part-timers make up around 60% of the 340,000 UPS workers represented by the Teamsters. These workers have been ignored for nearly 30 years. But as UPS and the union wrestle over a new contract, with a massive strike looming August 1st, part-time workers are coming out of the shadows to tell their story of what it's really like to work for the world's largest package delivery company.
My name is Jonathan Thomas Sr. I'm a UPS employee for almost 40 years.
And I'm Jonathan Thomas Jr., and I've been a UPS part-time employee for about 5 years.
The biggest disparity is pay, right? He's being paid a part-time position where, I'm full-time. When I first started, I remember my wage was very poor. Once I got past probation, I was up to full pay. And for me, it was a matter of, I think, 6 weeks. But now that probationary period has been extended to 4 years. So the new people, the part-time people, even the new full-time drivers aren't getting their full pay for 4 years. So that's quite a disparity.
Well, me and my girlfriend and my son, we stay at our in-laws' house, and we've been there for a while because we can't really afford our own one-bedroom apartment here in California with the part-time wages I make and the part-time hours I get.
The hourly pay for UPS part-timers got bumped up to $22 in larger markets during the pandemic, when it was hard to find and keep workers.
At the beginning of 2023, it went back down suddenly to 16.
They didn't really give us a reason why they took away that extra pay.
It was like an incentive.
Yeah, it was like an incentive and it was over, even though the volume didn't change, e-commerce is now bigger than before.
If pay is not there, they're gonna have to put in that overtime, which is sad.
Since part-timers are only guaranteed 3.5 hours of work a day, overtime is a hot commodity. The resulting process of securing those extra hours of work is exhausting and divisive.
We're not really united as a union in the warehouse. We're kind of all just turning against each other because we need to pay our bills and pay our rent. So we fight for hours and fight for positions. Normally I come in at 3:30 a.m. and I'll get out around 8:30 a.m. if I'm lucky. It all just depends. It's very fast paced. They want to get a certain amount of work done by a certain time, so they kind of push you to work fast.
We are physically moving those packages. Our job mainly is moving packages. It's not driving. And I think most people's perception is that we're just driving.
I talk to many drivers and, within the first 5 years of being married, they're divorced because of how long they work, how many days they work. They have a gap between them and their kids. So us as union workers, we make this sacrifice for our kids, but it's hard that that's what it's gonna become. We're gonna have to lose that relationship with our family.
At first, I really didn't want to do any UPS work because I knew just firsthand, just from seeing him come home exhausted, especially during the hot summers that we would have, that I knew it was really laborious work. It wasn't until about 26 when you start to, lose health insurance coverage that I started freaking out. I'm like, what should I do? Which Dad then told me was to go do part-time work at least, because they still get the same health coverage that I've basically had my whole life. Whenever I need medication, go to the hospital, anything, I'm not paying anything. I think hospital appointments are
that's our only
thing, and they're tiny.
We have to pay for emergency visit.
UPS has spent years rerouting new hires to exploitative part-time work with false promises of promotion.
I joined the fight with the union probably about 2 years ago because we started noticing that this last contract they did is horribly wrong.
I never see anyone go into a full-time driver position. They always go into being a 224 position first, which was basically a part-time position that works full hours. Become a 224 and then maybe you'll become a full-time driver. And not like your position changes, not like the work you do changes. You know, the only thing that changes is whatever code they type into their system for like pay. That seems a bit, that's like ridiculous.
I know people in my warehouse that they've been working for UPS for 14 years and they're still part-timers. You know, a lot of us try to make money other places, you know, but we don't get hired because the companies want us to commit, you know, 110% to their company. You know, they don't want us to work part-time at UPS, so it's hard finding another job. You know, when you're right there doing a hard labor job, you know, in the middle of the night, and you're just sitting there thinking like, damn, like I invested so much time with this company, I thought it would have paid off by now, but you're still making part-time hours, part-time wages. You're not really moving up at all. You're just in the same hole you've been in the whole time.
UPS has until July 31st to reach a fair contract agreement with the union. Part-timers are pushing for big changes to nearly every aspect of their job.
One thing we're really looking to get out of this contract is sort of a pay rise across the board for part-time and full-time employees. Not just to keep up with inflation, but to actually do well and prosper on our own. The inflation is used, I think, as a talking point for corporations to discuss, you know, why it's justified to pay us less or something, because it's such a complex issue. But the bottom line is that I know for a fact UPS hasn't been losing any money. They've actually gained tremendous. E-commerce is just ever expanding. So for them to cry that inflation would cause any sort of like rippling effect as far as our pay is absolute nonsense.
You know, and I think UPS plays that card too. Every time we have a contract,
Yeah, they cry poor.
They cry poor, but they've spent every dime they possibly can before the contract just so they can get to that, well, look at our numbers. Okay, well, what did you invest in to get you there?
The part-timers want higher part-time wages, more full-time positions, combo jobs, more hours, because we can't really have a chance out here in California with 4 or 5 hours. Like, we can barely pay for gas and groceries. Like, me and my family can't even afford a studio apartment out here. So it's like, you need to give your workers who you care about a fighting chance out here so we can keep our heads above water.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is JH. How y'all doing, Postal family? Is everybody good? Is everybody cool? Is everybody clean? Are you crisp? Are you feeling airy today? Let's talk, shall we? Well, first, I received an email. Nice. And it was pertaining to a video that I did quite some time ago. Follow me. And unfortunately, this has nothing to do with the post office, but you know, I'd like your opinion. So in the beginning of the video, I told you guys about how my grandbabies, my 2 granddaughters and my son were in the bathroom. It was McDonald's. Some of you have been here, some of you haven't. And how there was a man that was, I guess, dressed as a woman, went and he was arguing to get in the bathroom. And then I got kicked out because I told him my grandbabies was in there. And then we went back and forth and the police officers. And yeah, I was just protecting the babies, and a lot of people was upset, and I lost a few subscribers, but so be it. I'm gonna protect my grandbabies. Well, unfortunately, somebody emailed me and went ham on the old man, like, oh, I'm a pig, I'm discriminating, etc., etc. They were gonna report me for being a discriminatory individual, and I'm looking at the phone like, are you really kidding me? So here's my question, and this is going to be one of those questions that makes everybody go, Like I said, the individual was a man that was, I guess, dressed as a woman that wanted to go into the woman's bathroom, right, with my 2 granddaughters in there, and I was in the wrong for it. So why is it that there's never a woman who has gone through the transformation to be a man? Why are they not fighting to go into the men's bathroom? Think about what I just said. It's always the men that transform into being a woman to say, oh, I need to go into the bathroom. But how come it's never a woman that dresses as a man that fights to go into the men's bathroom? That's some food. We all know the answer to that, don't we? Nonetheless, let's talk. So you guys have made comments about UPS not doing as much as we do, doing less than we do, and I don't know why we're even arguing about it. They deliver the same way we deliver. They may not go door to door, but they do similar types of work. There are people that work in the fields. There's people that work in the warehouses. They're fighting the same thing. People said, oh yeah, they make so much more money than us. Well, that video says otherwise, right? Yeah, they don't really. When they first starting off, they have similar type of issues that we have. But here's the thing. If we're arguing about this and saying, oh, well, somebody said, oh yeah, I'm going to wait till August 1st and we are going to be getting all their mail or all their work and we're going to be overwhelmed with it. So here's the reality of it. If they do go strike, will we be getting any of their work? Absolutely. We'll get some of their work. Will their strike last a long time? No, absolutely not. It may last a day, maybe two. I don't see it or foresee it being longer than 4 or 5 days, tops. So let's not count our eggs before the chickens hatch and all. You know what I'm saying? Let's not do that. Okay, because we may get a slight influx in mail, but it's not going to be something that's going to make everybody rich. All right, we don't want anybody losing their mail. And by the time that transition goes over from them sending us the mail or the places and arranging with the post office, they'll be back in their building because I doubt they'll strike. I doubt it. And like I said, if they do, it may be 24, 48, 72 hours, if that. So we're not going to get slammed with a ton of mail when it's not going to be something that's going to overwhelm us. So that's nothing for us to really look forward to. You may get a couple days of overtime, but that's it. That's it. Now, as far as the other video yesterday, I had another piece on that video because some people heard me start talking about the mailboxes, but I guess Pitney Bowes flagged my video and then the copyright went out and I was like, I don't know. So I had to chop that little piece off of the video. But nonetheless, hopefully this is something for you guys to talk about as well. UPS, they're fighting for goodness. Somebody else, Maxley, probably about 80 of you emailed, can we get the Teamsters as our union reps versus who we have now? No, that's not realistic. I do not believe that's even a speaking point. I mean, would it be nice? Sure. But their only leverage is that they have, they've strike clause. You know, we can't strike. So we have a no strike clause in our contract. But here's the kicker. There's a video that I'll be putting out coming up, and we did strike. There was one time we struck, and this was back in the days of Nixon, and you'll see. And how does that play out? Now, they fought for the goodness, and it's actually how the APWU was formed way back then. So let's be optimistic, not pessimistic. And for that first question that I spoke about, hey, if you don't really care for me and my opinions, that's fine. But again, we're all entitled to opinions. And when it comes to my family, bottom line is I'm going to defend my kids. Regardless, my kids, my grandkids, it's who I am. And if you don't like that, I'm sorry. For nothing. This is JH. And we out.